Hi, I'm Carolyn Shavino, and I am your career coach. Welcome to the world of work, Aurora. Welcome. Today, I have a return guest, a very special guest in the world of work right here in Aurora. Jen Eichhorst is the vice president of TerraCycle. And oh my gosh, she has so much to offer today about an important topic that's dear to our hearts, and that is dressing for the interview, especially with summer here. But before we dig into that, Jen, welcome back.
Oh my gosh, it is such a pleasure. Thank you for having me back. I really appreciate it.
Well, you did such an amazing job on the last show.
You're too much.
You are just so engaging and informative. And I know that you're going to provide great insight for individuals wanting to know what to do and how to dress for, the interview that speaks volumes about that first impression. But first, tell us a little bit about your background again, just as a refresher, okay?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been with TerraCycle about 14 years. And so I think in those 14 years, I've kind of seen it all. Most of my recruiting has been within the office space. So salaried positions, sales, admin, things like that. And now I have shifted into the labor force as well. So throughout my 14 years, I feel like I have seen it all, both good and bad, right?
Yes,
where
you
people
have.
nailed it perfectly and others that I was like, not quite, right? So, happy to be here and bring my perspective to you and everyone else as well.
Well, I'm happy to have you. Can you share with us some funnies before we get into the appropriateness of the expectation that you have?
Sure. The one that really sticks out to me, it was probably the most recent, but it was a male candidate coming in for, again, a labor role.
Yeah.
So the expectations are slightly lower there, I would say, versus, again, a salaried sales position or something of that sort.
Certainly.
Came in really looking very disheveled. He really needed a shower. His hair was really messy. His nails were really long, longer than mine, and, quite dirty underneath. And that really stuck out to me because I thought, like, wow, like, again, with that first impression, right, that should have been more of a priority.
Yes.
Yes. But the funniest part about it is that he reeked of a substance that I thought, this is not allowed in this workplace, right? Driving forklifts and things like that I thought, oh, goodness.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Kind of a funny no-brainer that I was like, at that point, it was like, I'm just going to wrap up this interview, right? I kind of knew he wasn't what I was looking for, but sometimes it's as clear as day like that. And
right.
Again, just a little bit of thoughtfulness, maybe would have gone a long way for that interview.
I agree. Just a little prep.
A little prep. Just a little.
Yeah,
just a little. That's would have won.
Kind of taking a shower.
Yeah.
Anyway, how many employees do you currently have at TerraCycle?
Within my building, we have about 35.
Outstanding.
Yeah. In the U.S., we have, I believe it's about 300-ish, but we are a global company, so I'm not sure exactly what that number is, but several hundred people in TerraCycle.
Wonderful. Well, let's get down to it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, as far as dressing for success, if you are hiring a salesperson, as you said, what are some of the things that you're going to immediately say to yourself, I think I'm going to move a little further with this interview? And then we'll take it to the opposite side. Sure. What are some of the things, red flags, that you see right away, just in the appearance? For a salesperson now. So we're talking in a professional salaried role.
Sure. I would say, again, it starts as soon as you walk through that door.
Yes.
To posture, right? Stand up straight. Come off like you have a good air of confidence with you. Be dressed in a certain attire where you are buttoned up and you look professional, all the way down to the shoes. I think is super, super important. Some red flags, again, are on the easy side as far as just looking a little bit more disheveled. So if your hair is a little bit messy or your shirt is untucked, those are important factors. Yes. When your shirt is tucked in, you should wear a belt, right? I mean, there are just certain things within the professional space that should absolutely be adhered to, especially for the interview. You really want to put your best foot forward there.
Now, I agree. And when you say buttoned up, are you like looking for a polo shirt that has a buttoned collar? Are you looking for an actual like long sleeved dress shirt?
Sure. If it's a management position, absolutely a button-up shirt.
Okay.
Long sleeves down, not rolled, right?
Okay.
And I think even a tie would be appropriate in that instance.
Absolutely.
Kind of an entry-level associate sales position. I think a polo is okay. But again, a nice pair of slacks and a belt.
So why does that speak to you as a vice president? Why does dressing appropriately, and I call it polished, why does that speak to you differently than somebody coming in with the same skill sets?
Yeah, I think it's important, especially when you're customer facing, that you really want to present yourself in that way. Because it's important. It's important that you almost command that respect.
Yes.
The words then that come out of your mouth have a little bit more weight, I feel, when you are buttoned up, as I say, and look that professional way. So it's important that you also have that self-integrity to want to look your best and feel your best in the professional environment.
I agree. And I think having come from a corporate environment myself, having to wear a suit and heels and all of that goes along with that, it kind of boosted my confidence when I was walking in for a business meeting or an interview. Just dressing up, I think, is a confidence builder. Would you agree with that?
I absolutely agree, and I think that is like the miss a little bit in the younger generation, if you will.
Yes, let's go there.
Yeah, that you see it, right, in these junior high kids, high school, and all through college. Sweatpants are their best friend, right?
And slippers.
And slippers. Yes, thank you.
Let's not forget the slippers.
So true. And they look adorable, right? But then it's hard to make that transition into the professional world.
Right.
And I think, yes, if they would take a note from that, right, and go, wow, I really do feel better when I even put on a nice pair of non-distressed jeans and a nice shirt, right? Like that they feel a little bit better and they might stand up a little taller. So I absolutely agree with you.
It's kind of hard, though. Difficult coming from, so for example, I used to, one of my clients used to be Google downtown. And when you are a professional and you're in that environment and you're able to sit on the floor with your iPad or your laptop, and then you come out of that environment and you have to work for a different type of atmosphere, if you will. You're doing the same thing, but you're out of sorts. It's like, wait a minute. I was able to sit on the floor. I was able to wear jeans or shorts or what have you. So where do these people go to actually find out how to dress appropriately?
Sure. I mean, that's a tough one, I would say.
Yeah.
I know for myself, I love Pinterest. And I'm a fan, right? And that is somewhere where I get a lot of inspiration. It's just going to type in, as simple as, a professional outfit.
Okay.
Or if I were saying, how to dress for an interview, like lots of options would pop up there.
True.
That you could filter through. Like not everything is going to be your style. I think people should also represent themselves, right? So,
I agree.
If you're a little bit more boho, or again, like if you're a male and you typically wear your button-up shirts, you should wear that, right? Like you should absolutely represent yourself. And Pinterest gives you lots of options. So that's where I go personally. And I know you have some local resources as well that you direct people to.
I do. I think sometimes the local food pantries, they have a dress closet. There's dress closets at some of the shelters as well. Or Google is my best friend, as you know, Jen. So I would Google, where I can find professional clothing. And sometimes when you're going for an interview, you really don't want to invest in a suit or, a dress if that's not something that you may use ongoing. So I get that. And in order to save money, I think those are great places to go or dress closets. And they literally will put you together, right?
That's so nice.
From a suit for a gentleman with a tie that'll match, and sometimes shoes in that same environment, and same for the ladies, the same. It's so lovely.
That's
where
great.
you can go in and they'll put you together, as I say, together. Not
Yeah.
that you're not together, but you know what I'm saying. So visually together, and the earrings will match, and all of those things. So that is something that I would strongly recommend. And even just to see how you look,
Sure.
if that's not something, right,
Sure.
that you have in your closet.
Yeah. I would say so many stores even, again, and I'm speaking more from the women's perspective, of course, but,
Sure.
thinking back to the days that I shopped in like Maurice's, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, where are you going? What event are you trying to dress for?
Mhm.
And they will help you, right? And they
Yes.
kind of understand body types and that whole thing. Loft is another good one, right? Like they will kind of say, okay, this is what you're dressing for. You have a Sunday picnic.
Yes.
Great. What about this, right? Oh, you have a job interview. Well, what about something like this, right? So
Yes.
never be afraid to ask the local sales associates as well. They're super knowledgeable. It's what they do all day long, right? So don't be afraid to ask and get some pointers.
Excellent point. And I think they love that.
Oh, sure.
That's part of their job that is fun.
Yeah, I
Right?
would
Because
agree.
they love the colors and the designs that are coming in with new clothing and seasonal,
Sure.
what's happening for the summer.
Right.
And now, of course, we're probably trending into fall wear already.
Yes.
right?
Oh my gosh. So true.
That is so true. But thanks. Those are some great tips. I'd like to go into the manufacturing arena, because that's kind of difficult, having a staffing firm and folks coming in. As you know, my business is in Aurora. So most of my clients are manufacturing clients, which I absolutely think is fantastic. Skilled trades, hello. But in that arena, though, I'm not expecting individuals to come in with a suit and a tie, but I am expecting something. And you're kind of in that arena as well.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit about what you look for, or your managers will look for, when they're interviewing individuals for the floor.
Sure. So that's an interesting one, and here's why. My favorite applicants are the ones who show up in their work boots. A lot of times they will have a safety vest on already, or like a
Yes.
reflective zip up.
Wow.
Within my interview or recruitment process, I will say to them, I need you to come in for a 30-minute interview, and then we will take a spin around the warehouse, right? So that tells
Yes.
them you will be walking through the warehouse. So those who dress for that and understand what that means to be on the warehouse floor for even 5 or 10 minutes, that always stands out for me when they show up kind of ready to work.
That's incredible. I've
yeah.
not seen that.
Yeah.
So do you prep them before the interview, or you just wait to see?
I wait to see.
Okay.
I wait to see, but I do let them know, because I want them to be in at least comfortable shoes.
Yeah.
That will be walking the warehouse before they leave. And so that's always a great intel that they are ready to work, basically, right? They understand what it means to be in a warehouse environment. So that's a big one for me. And then again, I would say kind of the same type of standards to come in, clean and buttoned up, but to a lesser degree, right? So
Yes.
jeans are fine. Even a clean t-shirt would be okay. But it has to be clean, and it can't have a lot of writing on it.
Logos.
Or
Yeah.
something that still looks clean and simple, I would say.
That's great advice.
Mhm.
I love that. I never thought in the 35 years that I've been in this industry for somebody to come in dressed in their work boots and their safety vest.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep. Yeah, it sets them apart for sure. So that's a great nugget.
Everyone, did you hear that tip? I think that is brilliant. Definitely take that to heart. I think, wow, that would set them apart with me as well. Even as they come in the door, I would think, wow, this person is the real deal. They're looking to work.
Yep.
Spot on, Jen.
Yeah, you want to look the part. No matter what you're interviewing for, you want to look the part to some degree, right? Like you should put some thought into that.
I love it. I that's great. Virtual interviews.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a fairly new one for us, right? Like really COVID kind of changed all of
It
that
sure
for us.
does.
It's a different beast, I would say, but you basically get this frame that we're on right now, right?
Yes.
To show them that you're confident, right?
Yes.
And The biggest thing that sticks out for me is, again, especially, women with hair, sometimes men with long hair, right? That you want to be dressed on your shoulders. I've had people interview in kind of like the spaghetti strap type of tank top. And by the time their hair falls over that, they don't look like they're wearing very much on the top.
Absolutely.
And so that to me is a red flag, right? That they didn't have enough wherewithal to put on a full shirt, I guess. So it's an important note that it's like it needs to come across the screen in the best way.
Yes.
And so to wear a color that probably complements your skin tone and maybe your eyes, and then to have a full shirt on is always a great piece of advice there, I'd say. Seems so simple, Carolyn, but I've seen it all. Like I said, I've seen it all.
Can I tell you a funny?
Yes, I would love to hear one.
Okay. All right. So a good friend of mine also owns a staffing firm. So she told me, Carolyn, you're not going to believe this one. And I go, well, what? And she said, well, I interviewed somebody virtually and very polished, very, suited up, the whole 9 yards. And then she enjoyed the interview. She thought the skill sets were definitely there, and they were. She verified the employment of this individual. She was who she said she was. Stellar professional, she thought. So the client that she was going to be placed at also did a separate virtual interview, okay? Same dress, very professional, all of that. Now is starting on her first day. Shows up, you can't make this up, but this truly happened. Shows up for work with short shorts on and a tank top, because she thought, well, I got the job, so I'm good to go. And I didn't believe it. I seriously didn't believe it. And she said, well, I didn't either, but the client showed me the video, the camera.
Oh, goodness.
Of her walking in. And she sent me the video, and I thought, wow. So I would think that person was very confident.
Seems so, yes.
Exactly. Exactly. And, and it's kind of crushing as an employer when you have this stellar candidate, and yet again, maybe that's something that we need to do is coach them before, as a staffing firm, first coach them before they go to the actual interview.
Sure. To
make sure that they are the same as they walked in with us.
Sure.
As they do to the client.
Yeah, almost like a lookbook, right? Like, hey,
what's a lookbook?
Well, I've had to have some HR conversations, right, where I'm like, I don't think this quite falls into the policy. And HR's advice to me is always like, Google it, right? And have the couple examples of a buttoned up shirt, or again, a nice blouse, or, a polo shirt that I can show to them to say, hey, this is kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
But I think that could be a good resource for you and your team, right? To have some sort of lookbook that it's like, this is kind of what we're looking for. Just so they have some visual examples, right? Because a lot of that can be open to interpretation, if you will. And what your standards are might be different, obviously, than what theirs are. So,
yeah, no, I think that's incredible. I definitely, and maybe up front, as people are waiting to be interviewed, that lookbook can be available to them.
Sure.
I love that. Thank you. I will definitely use this for sure.
Love that.
So here we are. And along with dressing professional or dressing business casual or dressing ready for work, as you have mentioned, there's a component that goes along with all of this. And when they're in the interview, I'd like to go back to the confidence piece of body language.
Yeah.
And how important that is to you as a vice president of a company, to have someone before you, not that your title, but just out of respect, to be a potential employer, right? Talk to me about the body language that you're looking for. I know you said it earlier, sitting up straight and all of that, but what else? There's other indicators there.
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely the sitting up straight. I've had people kind of lounge back in their chair, right? And that doesn't give the best perception.
Right.
I also think it's a little bit of like social cues, if you will. So I've had people where it's my turn to talk, right? And so if I'm presenting you with information or telling you about the company or about the position, right, and I'm constantly getting talked over and interrupted, that to me is tough. So even though you're conveying to me that maybe you have a little bit of confidence, right, and you want to get your words in and you have an opinion too, that's okay, but do it in the right setting, right? And please wait for me to finish talking before you're interjecting. That one is a pretty big one for me,
Me
those
too.
social cues, right? Confidence is also in the way that you should have your resume with you. Again, with a higher position, right? Have it in some sort of portfolio.
Yes.
But never assume that I'm prepared on my end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always just make sure that you have a copy, or if I've invited somebody to the interview who may need a copy, right?
Yes.
Those types of things really convey that not only are you confident, but you're prepared, which are in the same bucket for me. So I think those are important things.
I agree. And all of this information is available online, how to interview. If some people would even go to the library, and if they don't have access to videos or any type of social media right there at the library, they can go and get these pointers.
Yep.
I think it's very important. And I also think that it shows their self-value, how they value who they are.
So big.
Yeah.
It is. It's really beyond, because that is the perception that we're looking for, that they value their time and their presence and their skills. That's how it's coming across the table, right, during an interview, is that they value themselves and their skills when they dress the part.
Right.
They're really putting that best foot forward there. So it's definitely a big piece.
I agree. And that's why I felt important to do this show, because people don't know what they don't know, right? We know that. I know that's cliche, but it happens to be the truth. They don't know what they don't know. And many times people come from different organizations that allowed certain dress to be every day. And, I've walked into warehouses where some ladies are wearing midriffs and some ladies are wearing shorts, and I'm looking around going, my gosh, even for safety reasons, you wouldn't want to work in an environment. And some environments are very hot.
Yeah.
But there are ways to still wear loose garments instead of something tight.
Right.
Wear something that's more cotton instead of polyester, that's going to go ahead and, not make you sweat even further.
Sure.
Right?
But yes, that's so true. That's such a great point, right? That, again, dressing for your body type, whether you're male or female, I think is just an important piece. And again, wearing something that you feel good in, because it's a stressful thing for you to be the interviewee, right? So you really want to feel good in whatever you're wearing, and that will come across the table for sure.
I agree. I agree. And, just to put it on myself, when I was much, much younger, and I remember wearing a suit and I had gained a little bit of weight. I'm just being vulnerable here,
Jen.
Go
for it. You're in a safe place. Yes.
I had gained a little weight, and I hadn't put this particular suit on in a minute, like a long minute. And so I put the skirt on, and it kind of zipped and everything, but when I went to sit down at a meeting, now this whole time at home, I'm in the suit and I'm walking around, never sat down. And then when I sat down, I was like, oh my goodness. So I just want to add, whatever you wear, make sure that you walk around in it, walk around in your shoes, walk around in your clothes, stand up, sit down, toes up, toes down. I know you may think, that's kind of ridiculous, but seriously, try it sometime. And you'll see that, wow, maybe my shirt is buttoned all the way when I am standing up, but when I sit down, all of a sudden it stretches a little bit. You understand what I'm saying? You ever been there? Been
That's
there.
a good one.
And it stretches, and now you're uncomfortable, and then your body language is kind of like this, because now you're trying to cover yourself up. So listen, we're just trying to help because we care about this amazing community that we are here to service. And we're just trying to share some tips on how to truly be successful, because looking for a job, I always say this is one of the most difficult tasks. It's scary sometimes if you haven't done it in a while. And if you have done it often and you've been rejected, that can be intimidating as well. So I'm hopeful that these tips will help you. Jen, would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, it goes such a long way. And I think that good look in the mirror right before you leave, right?
Yeah.
Like, not that it's all about those vanity types of things, but like, just make sure you feel good about yourself before you're walking out the door. To your point, right? Like, maybe not something so tight, a little bit more loose fitting, but also something that you're not going to have to fidget with a lot, right? That is just going to wear well, if you will, which is why within the professional environment, there really are those staple pieces for that reason. That's why we go back to the polo and the button-up shirt and the blouse, right? Because they are staples and they are timeless. So once you add them to your wardrobe, they will forever be in your wardrobe if you take care of them, right? And that's another good piece, right? Like, invest in the good couple pieces and and you'll have them for that important meeting or that interview or that business networking event, right? You'll have those things kind of in your back pocket to always lean on.
Yes, and the subtle colors that'll go with anything. Black traditionally will go with anything. Green,
sure.
Purple, blue.
Yeah.
Those are your solid colors that I think will, pretty much pair up with anything. And also, I think, things that are real flashy don't really go well. And again, it's you only know what you know and what you're accustomed to. It's not anything to, put down or to comment in a negative way. It's, try to do your research to see what the particular company that you're interviewing with is looking for. And many times you'll find pictures of the company and their employees. And you can really get kind of a gauge just by looking at the pictures of people that work there. For example, on LinkedIn or what have you. But like I say, Google is my best friend. But you can pretty much find out. Or if you know someone that works there at the company that you're interviewing with, get a sense, ask them what their thoughts are and what they're looking for. So, Jen, here we are. Ending up another show.
I know. It's another great topic and one that, again, really is so important. So I'm so glad to be able to do this with you.
And I'm glad that you are so wonderful at giving people second chances at TerraCycle and sharing with them. Maybe if they haven't dressed appropriately, but they're walking in the door, but you're coaching them and you're saying, you know what, you may want to come back. You're not just saying, I don't want this person. You're giving them an opportunity to put their best foot forward. That's who you are. You're always giving them an opportunity, but you're also coaching them because that's what we do for this community,
That's right.
Correct?
That's absolutely right. Yep. We have to invest back into them, right? We'll leave them better than when we found them, for sure.
Yes, yes. So thank you.
Sure. Glad to do it.
Again, Jen Eckhurst, I cursed.
I coursed. Yeah, we're there.
Sorry.
Don't be.
I'm just not very good with certain names. See, I'm not perfect, okay? So don't judge me. But anyway, I just want to say thank you, Vice President of TerraCycle right here in the great city of Aurora. So Jen, thank you very much. Thank you for your community efforts, and thank you for making sure that the community recycles as they're supposed to and keeping on top of everything to keep us green.
That's right.
That's important as well.
Yes.
Diligence is everything to make sure that we're healthy.
Yep.
And look good while we're being healthy.
That's right. That's right. All of it.
So thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
And thank you for joining us. And hopefully you've got some great tips on what to do and where to research. And if you are in need of further information, feel free to contact Jen on LinkedIn because that's where you can find her. And Jen, is there a particular email address or anything you would like to share?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's all on LinkedIn, but jen.eichhorst, and it is a tough last name, EICHORST, at TerraCycle.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And thank you all. Until next time. Bye.